Welcome. Hello, my name is Michael Barnes from Content with Teeth. Today we have Kate Pazesnik on a call. Kate is a resume writer and LinkedIn guru. And today we're going to ask Kate some questions about LinkedIn Organic. Kate, is LinkedIn Organic, does that have something to do with like farming or the earth? Or what exactly is LinkedIn Organic?
Great question. No, we're not diving into gardening today. There's nothing related to food or growing. However, when we talk about organic growth in LinkedIn, it's how can we engage in a way with our audience without necessarily using paid advertising or without doing some kind of promotions that's paid. So it's more like, how do you create content that targets your audience in a way that connects with them and grows your business organically, as opposed to growing in other ways?
Okay. If you had to deploy one strategy to boost your LinkedIn organic presence, what would it be and why?
Well, it's a good question. And I think it's different for everyone. I can share what has worked for me as a business owner is connecting with my audience who happen to be women executives, is understanding what kind of content is of interest to them, and then deciding in what format should that be delivered. So for some folks, that could mean video delivery because that's who the target, that's the type of media that the target audience wants to consume. For me, what's been successful is long form posts. And what I mean is kind of what it sounds like, right? It's a longer written piece that you post on social media. And the way I structure it is I talk about something personal that a lot of people can relate to. And then I transition into how does this relate to building your career as a female executive? For me, that has reached a lot of people who can identify with some of the challenges I presented. For example, I talk about a toxic work environment that I was in several years back, and that it made me an unhealthy person, physically, mentally, emotionally, and how difficult it was to create a plan in terms of how to transition out and just doing something else. A lot of people can identify with stress in the workplace, gaining weight, relationships that are under stress because of your job. And so when I post something like that, someone can identify it and say, these are a few ways that you could transition your career without putting yourself at risk financially or otherwise. Those things tend to really resonate with my target audience. Now, I'm not saying that this is necessarily something that would work for everyone. And one thing I wanted to mention is that one of the trends that we're seeing in social media, but is LinkedIn as well, is video is queen. So I know that a lot of people are hearing that video. It is true. That's the type of content a lot of audience are looking for. So if you're the type of person who feels comfortable in front of a camera, that might be your avenue toward reaching those people and growing your audience.
My third and final question, Kate, is what are some tips to improve your LinkedIn profile? And the second part of that question is specifically to this new year. We are recording this on January 3rd of 2023. What are some things that are new in LinkedIn that we can deploy in 2023 to improve your LinkedIn profile?
I have all sorts of tips around creating a stellar profile that's going to grab your audience's attention, as well as some trends. So I'm going to try to fit in as much as I can here without overwhelming our listeners. The first piece of advice I would give is to create a robust profile. And what I mean by that is the more you fill out, the more relevant connections you're going to receive. A recent headshot. A lot of times, I don't know if you've ever been to a networking event and you'd seen a picture of, someone that you're meant to meet up with. And when you go to the networking event, you cannot find that person. And you realize it's because they look nothing like the photo that they posted on LinkedIn or another social media site. So I always recommend, if your photo is older than a couple years or you've changed your hairstyle, something like that, then that is the time to update your headshot. Another thing that is really important is having a strong headline. That is what the text that's featured directly underneath your name and headshot. That needs to be strong because it's directly below your name. So it's one of the first things people are going to see, but it's also what folks are going to see when you, for example, comment on a post. All that is visible is your name and that headline. So if it's relevant, if it involves or features your value prop differentiators, that is going to grab someone's attention in the right audience members, right? Mm-hmm. Now, let me just give you a quick example to give some context here. So one way of doing this could be your job title and then helping X do Y. So for example, Chief Marketing Officer, helping Fortune 100 companies increase demand generation, revenue growth, and brand awareness. So you have some specific areas of expertise that are being called out. So those are a couple big things. The other piece of your LinkedIn profile that is really critical, and it's a great opportunity to show some personality and really lay out what you do, who you serve, and how you do it, is your about summary. Now, this tends to be the section of LinkedIn profiles that everyone is afraid of doing because it's just a big open block, right? Mm-hmm. I suggest keeping it short and sweet. You don't need to write a novel. They give you a lot of space, but there's no need to necessarily take up that much room. And what you want to do is have a great hook. The first 3 lines are all someone's going to see before they click open your about summary. So those 3 lines need to grab someone's attention. One line that I had used in the past was, if you told me I'd be founding a tech startup just 2 years ago, I would have laughed. That's a way of transitioning into what you really want to convey to your audience. Think about your mission. What are you out to do? Why do you do it? And how do you do it different or better than someone else in your industry or in your role? So those are a few things that I would say spend the most time in those areas. Mm-hmm. There are other sections in your LinkedIn profile that I think are important, but not as critical. So if you only have limited time, I would suggest spending it there. And then another part of this is becoming a LinkedIn all-star. And the reason you want to do this is because all-star profiles rank higher in searches by recruiters, prospective talent, your peers. You are actually 40 times more likely to be found in searches. So in order to figure out where you stand in terms of becoming a LinkedIn all-star, there is a profile status on your dashboard, which is located directly under your about section. And one of those foundational elements that LinkedIn is looking for all-star profiles is the amount of connections that you have. It needs to be 500 plus. However, I would tell people that you don't want to you want to prioritize quality over quantity when it comes to connections, because the way algorithms work is your content is often populated based on the people you're connected with, what you're looking at, right? So you need to make sure that you're very focused in that area. I want to pivot from there to talk a little bit about the latest and greatest, because I want to be conscious of time, sure. Which is talking about some of the content preferences people have. And I touched on this a little bit ago. Audience members or LinkedIn users, and let me just tell you how robust of a network LinkedIn has. There is 850 LinkedIn users as of July of 2022. So that number, of course, has probably risen, and about 260 million of them are actually monthly engaged users, but only 3 million people are posting. Okay, so I know that was a lot of numbers, but the point here is that there is a small...
That was 850 million total users, right?
Total users, okay. But only 260 of them are consistent monthly users.
Okay.
Out of that, just 3 million people or professionals are engaging. They're posting content, they're liking posts, and so on. What that means for us, if you are a business owner and entrepreneur, you have a great advantage if you are engaging on LinkedIn. And it doesn't have to be every single day, hours a day. What people are looking for, though, is personalized content, meaning that you're being more authentic, you're being more genuine, you're giving behind the scenes. This is what it's like to be a content creator or a resume writer or a lawn care service owner. People like hearing things like that. So LinkedIn is doing something where they're aligning more personalized content recommendations based on your user activity and interest. Now, this means that if you're a consistent poster or engager, then the algorithms are going to be more kind to you in terms of who is actually able to see your posts and content and the type of content that you're seeing. So that can be something that people should keep in mind. There are some news with newsletters and recurring articles. You can actually build a subscriber list by sending out a one-time notification to page followers. And then those followers or newsletter subscribers will get consistent reminders of when you post. So this is good. If you have a newsletter, now you have 2 touch points where you can get folks engaged with the written materials that you present on LinkedIn. One thing to note, and this is important across LinkedIn on your profile, is incorporating SEO practices so that members can more easily find your profile and newsletter. As a business owner or an entrepreneur, or you're offering services as a freelancer or contract worker, you can create a services page. And before, you could only include photographs. Now you can actually add videos and links to a services page. However, right now, those links are limited to certain domains, which include Google Drive, Vimeo, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So as of right now, you're limited as to the types of domains that you can leverage in terms of adding. However, this is an awesome opportunity to showcase some of your work in a media that is different than photographs. And so you can use this to make your services page stand out. I mentioned video content is really a big deal. And one easy way, if you're video averse, one thing that you could do is turn on creator mode in your LinkedIn profile. And you can create a 30-second introduction video to let people know who you are and what you do. People feel that personal connection comes through video, as opposed to written text. So video is also more memorable and it makes you seem more human to others. So that's a really great opportunity to just show people who you are and in a short clip. So those are a few things that people should be keeping in mind, is leveraging some of these tools to stand out and differentiate yourself. And not all these tools are being leveraged. So if you are utilizing them, you are putting yourself at a great advantage. I think one thing that you asked about too was how you can make your LinkedIn profile a selling tool. And there are some things that I would just like to emphasize when you're thinking about leveraging that social media platform to sell. I preach value first, selling second. Give away information of value to people before you try to sell them. So what that would mean is building out your LinkedIn profile page, offering thought leadership or education. So let's just say you own a tire shop. Post a quick article or a blurb about 3 ways that you can avoid uneven wear on your tires. It's helpful information. It doesn't take long to create, and it's relevant to your business. So using keywords throughout is also going to help. So take advantage of that, and then leveraging a features section, which gives you another opportunity to showcase testimonials from past clients or customers, videos, and so on, and then engaging. And I know I've brought that up a few times, but it really can make the difference if you engage with the people who are reading or viewing your content, is keeping that in mind. And then having some kind of call to action when you post, or even when you send a direct message to someone. You need to tell people what you want them to do after they've engaged with your content. If you want them to go to your website, say, go to my website for more information. Or if you'd like to learn about X, DM me. So those things are really important. Otherwise, our audience members don't know what they're supposed to do next with the information they've been given.
Well, Kate, thank you so much for these super helpful tips on LinkedIn Organic. Can you just tell us, for people that would like to learn more about you and your company, where to find you?
Certainly, I appreciate that. My web address is quirkpersonalbranding.com, and quirk is a quirky word. It's QUIRK, personalbranding.com. So yes, if you have questions, feel free to go on my website. You can also contact me via email, which is kate@quirkpersonalbranding.com. It's been a real pleasure.
Great. Thank you, Kate. Absolutely. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Sounds great. Thanks.